Okay. No intro. In this video, we're going to cover role-playing styles and mini games. Okay? We're not going to cover plot. We're not going to cover combat. We're not going to cover tiers of play. We're not covering anything else. So, as a preamble, D&D is a resource management game. And it's mostly carried out in a kind of video game tradition in the style of leveraging the specific tools and resources that your character has at their disposal in order to solve a variety of challenges that your DM puts in front of you. This, I think, as a style of play is relatively limiting compared to what D&D is capable of. And because of that, I am adding in some additional modes of play that I think will be interesting and hopefully fun for us all to engage in on a relatively infrequent basis, right? I want you guys to be creative. Creativity and ingenuity is the most valuable thing to me as a DM, and it's the thing that I will reward you for the most, both in terms of XP and inspiration. I want you to think about how your character would approach the problem first, and then think about whether or not your character sheet supports it. If you even bother to think about whether your character sheet supports it, I don't really care. Tell me what you want your character to do, and then if there's some element of chance required of it, I will ask you for a roll, right? And we can negotiate about things like advantage. When it comes to that, basically, I want you to say, what would it take for me to get advantage? Or can I get advantage by doing XYZ? In that case, I'm much more happy to work with you than if you say to me, I should have advantage because blah, 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 right? Both of those are valid, but one of them opens the door for me to make suggestions, whereas the other one is just a flat yes or no. I'm going to be running this game under the assumption that your characters are competent adventurers and that, generally speaking, they should know the types of things that they're good at and the types of things that they're bad at or don't have very much experience with, right? These characters are supposed to have the potential to become mythic heroes, right? Legends in the world of Andraste. And so the assumption, generally speaking, should be that they know what the hell they're on about. And that's part of the reason why I'm adding mini games, is to get you guys thinking in the sense that your characters are, when they have proficiency, they should know that, right? There should be a level of confidence that comes with, the level of experience that they have to get them to being adventurers. So before we get into that, there are some DM rules that I'm putting in place for myself to protect you guys from shenanigans. And if you can think of anything else that you wish I would do or that you think would be a good idea as a limitation, I want you to bring it to me. I'm just a player at the table, same as you guys are. So, rule number 1, minigames are optional. If a challenge is available, the group can opt out of that minigame and still have success, right? The type of success that you will get if you opt out of a minigame is the type of success you would otherwise get from just barely passing a DC on a skill check or something. And specifically, when I say barely, I mean you didn't hit the DC, then you rolled a D4 inspiration die and you exactly hit the DC, right? So you're going to just scrape by in that minigame, but you're still going to succeed and it probably won't hurt you that bad, if at all. Minigames are also valuable, right? So if you, as a group, choose to accept the minigame, then all the session XP that you get for that night's play is going to be tripled, whether you succeed or fail, okay? That's very important. If you fail, there will be consequences for that failure. It wouldn't be very much of a role-playing game if there weren't consequences. But the experience you gain from participating in the minigame is the same, whether or not you succeed. You can also buy success with a group fate point. That guarantees total success and the XP boost, but it's going to cost you one of your precious group fate points, of which you only get 20 in the entire campaign. And the last thing about mini games in the sense of their valuableness is the fact that they require the entire group. One character can't sit out on the mini game. Everybody has to agree. We're either opting in or we're opting out. Okay. And so if you guys end up having to take a vote on that, then that's just the way that goes. Either way, mini games are rare. I'm putting a hard limit on saying there's only going to be one per level unless there's some extremely good narrative reason for there to be more than one. And I will always tell you the terms of the minigame, and I will track your progress through it. So at any point, you can just ask me what your status is, right? You will never be surprised into a minigame, right? And that's partly because the minigame is optional, right? So moving right along, there are two types of minigames we want to talk about. Briefly, the first one is skill challenges. You all should probably remember skill challenges from the first campaign that we ran. That's where you have to roll a series of skill checks in order to get through whatever the cinematic event is that's happening in the game. You have to earn X number of successes before you earn 3 failures. It's always 3 failures. That's how we measure the difficulty of the skill challenge. If you have to get 5 successes before 3 failures, that's a hard skill challenge. If you have to get 9, that's an extremely hard skill challenge, right? Tertiary rules, the group can never only use a skill check once, and you should be absolutely metagaming the shit out of a skill challenge, right? But otherwise, that's really all there is to it. The other type of minigame I'm adding for this campaign is called a role-playing challenge. Role-playing challenges are new, and they're something of my own devising, right? I have the same XP and skip options of skill challenges, and these are moments where the team is going to be challenged to, or rather the players really, will be challenged to solve a puzzle, navigate a dangerous area, search a room, navigate an otherwise benign role-playing encounter without rolling any dice. Okay, and that's critical. Okay, the challenge is to resolve whatever the issue is within the time limit purely through question and answer. If I presented you with a situation where your character had to turn over a room and look for an amulet without letting anybody ever know they were there, the way that you would do that, if you couldn't roll dice, is through question and answer. You'd say, I look under the rug, I look under the bed, I check the walls, I check the desk, I check the closet. I'm not stepping on anything I can't see. I want to check to see that chest if it's locked. Is it trapped? Blah, 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 blah. Right? What do I smell? What do I see? Are there any windows? Is there any movement outside in the corridor? That kind of stuff. Your character will still have access to all of their spells and abilities, and I'm, again, assuming they're generally competent. If you say, I searched the walls, I'm assuming you're going to search those walls thoroughly enough that if there's something there, you're going to find it. If there's something I need you to clarify, because it's not necessarily implied by saying, I searched the walls, then I may have to ask you, do you move the painting off the wall? Are you going to take the logs out of the fireplace? Are you taking all the stuff out of the drawers when you check that desk? That kind of stuff. The other thing about role-playing challenges that you should know is if you don't specifically state explicitly to me details about what you are doing, then I'm going to assume that whatever the thing is does or does not happen based on whatever is the most direct line of action for your character to take. That's pretty vague, so let me give you an example. If you're moving across a room from the desk to the closet because you finished checking the desk and now you want to check the closet, then there's a rug in between you in the closet. If you don't say, I'm avoiding that rug, then your character walks across the rug. whether there's a pit trap in there or not, right? Now, if you previously said, I don't want to step anywhere where I can't see, or you looked under the rug and found the trap, right? Then obviously I'm going to assume your character doesn't walk into the trap that they've already seen, or they don't walk over the area of the floor that they can't see because you already told me that stuff. That's, part of what I'm talking about when I say I'm assuming your characters are generally competent. And yeah,